Hello, everyone, and welcome in to Bet the Edge Game Time, powered by PointsBet. I am your host, Sarah Perlman, and as always, I am joined, as you can see, by my good friend, Drew Dinsick. And for the next half an hour, we're going to hit all of the biggest betting lines heading into tonight's action. And if you want an extra edge with your wager, please be sure to subscribe to our NBC Sports EDGE YouTube channel. But here's a look at what exactly is to come tonight on Game Time. Wimbledon off to an eventful start across the pond, and Kenny Ducey is here with his best bets for Thursday, plus get an early reaction to the biggest upsets this far. And Jake Croucher from PointsBet will reveal which NBA team has seen the biggest odds move in the futures market with the start of free agency just under 24 hours away, along with his favorite plays in Major League Baseball futures market. But I begin the show as I do every single Wednesday, and that is asking, how you feeling on this winning Wednesday?
I'm feeling great. Wimbledon finally turned around for me. I had a rough first couple of days, not just in match-by-match betting, but a couple of future positions that I had huge amount of equity on just went poof, thanks to COVID. Apparently that's still happening. But yeah,
we're going to get into that momentarily.
It was a weird one over in London as we kicked off the Grass Slam tournament, but the players have settled in. Our girls, particularly young, the masterful Ons Jabeur, just coming through in beautiful fashion through 2 days of action. So excited for the rest of this fortnight.
I am as well. You got me on to Ons Jabeur, and I was telling everyone before we hopped on the show, I'm like her new biggest fan, watching her nonstop. She was lights out today. But let's continue this discussion on obviously probably the biggest Grand Slam in tennis. That is, of course, the Wimbledon. And we have Kenny Ducey standing by, and I'm excited to pick your brain here, Kenny, because Drew and I talked a lot about different females, and you did as well, specifically on the American side, like Serena Williams. And we've seen some upsets already. So now as we look at just the women's side in particular, Kenny, what stands out? How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty interesting tournament because as Drew and I have discussed on the air here before, I'm not sure that I do like Ons Jabeur actually. I'm not sure that Iga Swiatek is going to be the winner here. I know that, grass is a weird surface to handicap because not a lot of players play it, right? There's not a lot of grass court tournaments, and it's hard to really gauge who's good and who's bad on the surface. But with that said, like Iga Swiatek, hadn't played grass before her first round match. She didn't really play, much of an opponent in the first round. So, when we get down to the later stages here, I do think perhaps there are some players that could knock her out. In terms of futures or parts of the draw I'm looking at, I have always been looking at Karolina Pliskova. She started the tournament down at plus 3,800. I think she has a pretty solid shot. I think she should match up with Coco Gauff here in the third round if all things go correctly. And Amanda Anisimova could very well beat Coco Gauff too. I mean, she's an excellent young American tennis player. That's a section of the draw where I feel like might be open a little bit. So perhaps Pliskova, the finalist last year at Wimbledon, not getting any respect. We talk about grass as a surface. You don't really need a lot of form, right? You just step on, you know how to play it, you're good. She was the finalist last year. She took a set off Ash Barty in the final, and she's coming in as like not even in the top 10, most likely as according to odds makers to win. So I think she has a pretty fair shot here. But, like you guys, I think there's plenty of value to be found in some of the other names not named Iga Swiatek. I would love to say Coco Gauff, but at this point, there's way too much money on her right now, and there's not a ton of value left because I don't know if I'm willing to pay, what is it? I think she might be shorter than 1,000 now, plus 1,000. So I'd say go a little bit crazier.
No, that all makes sense. And the Pliskova shout is of a special interest because I don't know if you saw, but she is not only not getting respect in the futures market, she's not getting respect in her match tomorrow. She's taking on Katie Boulter, who she is far superior tennis player, and she's only like minus 175 right now in the money line. So there should be some ways to attack that. And I generally agree with you. Iga's not going to be tested in round 2 or round 3, but round 4 against Krejcikova looks tough. The quarterfinals against Andreescu could be tough. And then whoever she faces out of Q2, be it Coco Gauff or Pliskova, or even Petra Kvitova, or any of the other challengers.
Simona Halep sitting right there too, man.
Halep, absolutely loaded section there. So she's going to have her hands full getting to the final. Meanwhile, we just need Ons Jabeur to maintain focus there. And, she just needs to get over that Angelique Kerber hurdle that is looming in round 4. And I think we got ourselves a finalist. But overall, the men's side of the draw is in total shambles. The number 2 favorite here, your guy, Matteo Berrettini, who you had, a decent amount of equity on your future position, doesn't even take the court. Hopefully you bet him at place that voids non-runners here. But either way, it was sad to see him go because he was in absolute peak form coming into this tournament. And it's now kind of anyone's game on the bottom half of the draw. Rafa Nadal stepped foot on grass for the first time since his 2019 defeat here, and he honestly looked very vulnerable. Now, Cerundolo was playing a very solid match of tennis himself. And that might have been part of it. But Nadal has his work cut out for him. Anyone can get there from the bottom half of the draw. And I'll break it down in more detail personally, but I think there's a challenger in Novak Djokovic's quarter that it's worth grabbing a future price on right now. How do you see things shaking up in the men's draw with the Berrettini absence?
Yeah, his name is Oscar Otta, correct? No, all jokes aside, and not really a joke because I love Otta against Alcaraz, frankly. Look, I think that there is. I mean, you mentioned it with Berrettini that I was so excited about that price because I got it at plus 1,300. It went down to plus 400 when the Cilic COVID news came out. I got my money back, but I probably could have cashed out for profit, for a decent profit, and I didn't. So. I'm a little upset, but no, my move after that was to go to Nick Kyrgios at I think plus 3,000 or plus 3,500, something like that. He's down to plus 2,000 now. I still hold steady with that. He beat Tsitsipas and Hala. Tsitsipas is still learning how to play grass. Not to say he couldn't win that match. He looked great against Kyrgios, but if he makes it through there, and gosh, RBA, I mean, that might be the toughest guy for him to take down. He makes it through those 2 matches. I think he's going to the final. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think he beats whoever comes out of quarter 4. The question is who comes out of Q3. And I think if you can figure out who comes out of Q3, I think you got a guy that you want to bet on. There's a name that no one's talking about, Drew. The name that no one's saying who might win quarter 3, and he's plus 2,200 to do so. And it is Jenson Brooksby. And I know everyone's going to laugh because he came into Wimbledon. He had lost 5 or 6 matches, and he was just minus 300 against Mikhail Kukushkin, the corpse of Mikhail Kukushkin. But I'll tell you what, he knows how to play on grass. He could certainly win this match against Benjamin Bonzi. And if he does that, the next round gets even easier for him. And then he's left to pick the bones of whoever comes out of the bottom half of this quarter, whether it's Kyrgios, RBA, Tsitsipas, whoever. I think he's got a very, very fair shot, much more fair than the odds would indicate, because I think he'll come through Benjamin Bonzi. And once he does that, you'll see his odds plummet to win this quarter. But I mean, he's got to be licking his chops too. He doesn't need ranking points right now, but gosh, he would love a Grand Slam semifinal run to just kind of cement what he's been able to do over the last year. He's got the work ethic, he's got the talent, he's got the determination to drive, the mental capacity, what have you. Man, I might be throwing some cheddar down on that tonight with a little bit of the winnings I had off the Astros today.
Okay, so Jenson Brooksby is a dog tomorrow, plus 125. And that leads me, obviously, I'm assuming he's going to be one of your plays for tomorrow. But what else is on your card for the Wimbledon tomorrow out in England?
I like a lot of Americans, but not Maxime Cressy, because I like another American more, and his name is Jack Sock. You might have heard of him. Used to be in the top 10. He's back, baby. He's 11-2 on grass this year. That includes Wimbledon qualies and challenger matches, but he has done an excellent job on this surface. If you follow the doubles, he had a big doubles win today over the French Open champs. He looked great in that match. He looked great in his first round match. Zapata Morales definitely could have been a challenge for him. Came through in straight sets very easily. And tomorrow's match, Maxime Cressy, all of a sudden, he's got the pressure on him. He didn't have the pressure on him against Felix Auger-Aliassime. And Felix, for however great, how great he is at bringing power to the game, right? His serve, his forehand. He's not very good in those pressure spots. Jack Sock's a little bit better in those spots. I think Jack Sock's going to line up some passing shots. If we get some points at the net, I think Jack Sock's going to be able to chase down some balls and deliver some very crisp redrop shots over the net. Know what to do when he gets to the net. He's very comfortable there. I think that this is a match that's trouble for Maxime Cressy. There's a reason why he's only minus 200 against a guy that's just lived in the challengers and is outside the top 100 right now. And that's because I think Jack Sock has a very fair chance to win. So I like Jack Sock at plus 160. I could talk for another 6 minutes about my next plays. I don't know if you wanted to tee me up or answer how you thought my play was, but I love Jack Sock tomorrow.
Plus 155, and we love how passionate you are about your plays, and Drew's going to get to his bets later on in the show, and I know he has a ton on his card for tomorrow as well. So I know there's one more for tomorrow on the men's side. What is it?
Yeah, I don't even remember which one I gave Adam, one of the producers here. But no, I'm actually going to throw a curveball because I don't think it was this one. Or maybe I'll just look on the screen. I'll put it up. But no, I do. Oh, yeah, there we go. He dropped a note. This is one that doesn't involve American. And I did watch Diego Schwartzman's first match against Stefan Kozlov. Kozlov led by a break in the first. And something interesting happened to Diego Schwartzman in the third set. He got hurt. I don't know if anyone noticed this. The announcer said he kept cramping up, but he kept holding his thigh. And Diego Schwartzman's not a player that cramps, which is why I believe this is not really a cramp, which is maybe a minor injury. I just think the slightest bit of wear on Diego's body right now, considering the fact that he's already not a great grass player, and he's playing a guy in Liam Brody tomorrow who took a set off him the first set last year at Wimbledon. Look, we saw Cam Norrie today against Jami Munar. He had that raucous crowd. Andy Murray looked like he was about to, have a heart attack on court. He was yelling so loud with the crowd after that third set. He won up to John Isner. These crowds are crazy for these Brits, right? The British people love their British tennis players. They're going to get behind Liam Brody tomorrow. Liam Brody plays very flat shots. He's very solid on surfaces like these on clay. Diego Schwartzman, not very solid on matches like this. This match could go 5 hours tomorrow, and it could be 4 sets. And it's really going to be neither one of these guys going to give anything away. But I think Liam Brody, there's a little more respect here. I'm going to take 5.5 games with Liam Brody because I think he wins at least 1 set in this match. And I think he could win this match outright. He is, again, not to be reckoned with. Or forced to be reckoned with, not to be toiled with, whatever the word is, on grass. He's very good. His beard is also perfectly groomed. I like him tomorrow.
Let me make a small appeal. Split your stake.
Okay, go ahead.
Split your stake on your games handicap, but put half of it on the money line. Because there's a chance Schwartzman retires after 1 or 2 sets here. And as long as, check the rules at your book, but a lot of books will grade a winner to the advancing player if there's a retirement after 1 set. Some places it's 2 sets. So, of course, house rules matter. Check your rules, know your rules, wherever you're betting tennis. But I do think that's a non-zero chance, and I like that look in general.
Okay.
Yeah, that's also something to know because here in New York, there used to be some books that would grade wins after 1 set, but I think most of them now avoid all of them. But you can still find, if you look hard, you can find some.
Yeah, well, everyone betting and not just Kenny, make sure to read the rules, especially for tomorrow and with the underdogs and the stakes, depending if Schwartzman retires after the first set. Of course, something to note, as you said. So we already kind of talked about the fact that you're putting so much money on these plays because you sneakily said about the Astros win. And that leads me to pick your brain about more baseball plays for tonight on the slate. So with that, Kenny, we keep you on. It is time for Player Pass. Going to start off giving Kenny a little break here because he just rattled off an amazing analysis, so many tennis plays. So I begin with you, Drew, and that is the Yankees taking on the Rays. What do you think?
Is this the 18th consecutive game time where we have a Yankees Rays play? This is it's so predictable. I'm going to pass on this one. I'm
sorry. I just missaid that. I was thinking 2 AL East teams. It's the Red Sox and Blue Jays for tonight.
It's the Red Sox and Blue Jays.
I was going to say, Aaron Judge already homered today.
It was an earlier game, and he did hit his 29th homer, by the way. But
I'll take the Yankees in that game, though. I'm grabbing the Yankees minus 146. Yeah.
We'll go with the Red Sox and Blue Jays. Red Sox 145, Blue Jays, home favorites, minus 176. Total is 8.5.
Yeah, I like the over in this one a lot. I think this is a solid overlook. I think 8.5 is almost a whole run too low, and I'm going to take over 8.5 here. Realistically, this ought to be a 9 or 9.5 in my opinion.
Wow. Well, Nick Pavetta's pitched excellently this year. I'm shocked to hear you say that, but I lay the runs with the Blue Jays. I think they're the stronger of the two offenses. I think Alex Manoah is going to shove tonight, looking for that all-star election. So I think I'd want the Blue Jays here.
This is a fantastic game and a pitcher's duel. I saw Nick Pivetta pitch in person a few days ago when I was in Cleveland. Looked good there, and I love Alek Manoah to watch him. I think he might get an all-star bid this season.
Not good enough to keep it under 9.5, though, Sarah.
Okay, fine. So let's move on to another game. We mentioned a good pitching matchup there, and we normally do on the Wednesday show. It's the Marlins and the Cardinals. Kenny, I begin with you.
You can throw it right to Drew because I don't want any part of this game. Apparently, DJ Short came up with this incredible streak that Paul Goldschmidt's on with RBIs. Maybe I'd play that, but I don't want any part of this pitching matchup. Sandy Alcantara has been excellent, and he is a very short favorite, which scares the heck out of me. So pass.
Yeah, I think regression's coming. I think Cardinals are the right play here. I think plus 115 is as good as you're going to find on a team that ought to be about to pick them.
Yeah, line a little bit scary for all of us. Okay, Dodgers, Rockies. Drew, what do you think? Dodgers favorites on the road. Total 11.5 in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, everything's not well in the Dodgers clubhouse right now with the Freddie Freeman drama. So I think this is an easy one to pass on. The Rockies are not necessarily a major league ball club, but, they are the home team here. This should be competitive. If you're going to get involved with the Dodgers, I would lay the run line, but I will not play this game, so I will pass.
Well, using Drew's logic, the Rockies are a non-serious baseball team, and the Dodgers are unwell. So I'm going to take the under here. And depending on what number you got last night, if you got 11.5, 5 straight unders in Dodgers games. The worst, it was a push last night at 11 whole runs. They are not scoring a lot. And I'll tell you what, German Marquez has not been good at home. His ERA is above 6, but he is striking out about a batter per inning. And that is troubling because the Dodgers strikeout rate is over 25% in the last 2 weeks. They are striking out like crazy. I think Marquez could be effective enough here to hold this game under. We already know Julio Urias going to absolutely shove against this Rockies team because he's no longer tipping his pitches. So I like the under here.
It's kind of crazy. I never know how to play games in Colorado because you think you like the under and then the balls start flying and it's absolutely dead in the 5th inning. But I wish you luck for your total play.
Can't wait for pain.
Hey, let's get into the White Sox Angels because if we don't talk about Shohei Ohtani on a Wednesday on this show, we're doing something wrong. And that's what's happening for tonight. Hey, by the way, Angels now have 2 players in the top 3 favorites in the AL MVP race. We talked about Aaron Judge hitting a home run earlier today, of course, and you have Ohtani and Trout in the top 3 favorites as well. These 2 teams, White Sox, Angels. Kenny, I start with you, total 7.5. Angels minus 200 at home.
Yeah, 2 MVP favorites, and they still stink. They're still 24th in WRC plus over the last 2 weeks. And I don't feel bad for Shohei Ohtani because he chose to play for this team, and basically Mike Trout did as well. I like the White Sox here. They are being completely disrespected at plus 165. Michael Kopech has had 2 bad outings in a row. One of them came against the Baltimore Orioles, who we all know are actually a good offensive team, top 10 in barrel rate, and the Astros. I'm not really scared about those 2 outings. Michael Kopech's strikeouts are down in those outings, but the Angels, like those Dodgers we just talked about, striking out a lot, over 25% as well in the last 2 weeks. I think Michael Kopech, a guy with an above average strikeout rate, will do wonders here against the Angels. And while Shohei Ohtani does strike out a lot of hitters in his own right, he gives up a ton of barrels, a ton of hard hit balls. I think we get a couple solo shots from the White Sox, one of the best exit velocity teams in the league. I think it's a low scoring game, but one that the White Sox might win 3-1 on the road. I think this is an excellent spot to take the White Sox as dogs.
It's a lot of confidence in a guy that's velocity hasn't been on the right, trending in the right direction with Kopech. Nothing against our birds. The Orioles are very real. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely am not.
Except for when
involved,
Austin Hayes needs to catch a fly ball, but I'm not mad about that at all.
Not going against fading the Angels is fine. Not going to do it with the White Sox. So this is a pass.
Yeah, this is a tricky one because the White Sox you think should be so much better than what they're playing like right now and really throughout the season. It's a stay away for me. I'm excited to see this game, but the White Sox lost 5 of their last 7. We'll see how they fare out in Anaheim. Kenny, we appreciate the time today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. And let's win some bets tomorrow at Wimbledon.
Tonight on the baseball slate, tomorrow with Wimbledon. Hey, don't forget, weekends are better with MLB Sunday leadoff coverage presented by Uber Eats. Catch the Royals take on the Tigers in Detroit this Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, live on NBC and Peacock. To learn more, go to peacocktv.com/MLB. And if you want a chance to win $25,000 on the game, download the NBC Sports Predictor app powered by PointsBet and enter Sunday's free Grand Slam Pick'em contest. For more baseball picks, check out the first round from today's Battle of the Bets, where you can play along in the NBC Sports Predictor app for a chance to win $2,500 in cash prizes.
Hi, I'm Jay Croucher, head trader at PointsBet, and we're here with Battle of the Bets, 2 contestants making 3 picks each. DJ going for 3 in a row today. What is your first pick?
Well, I just want to say, Circling the Bases is officially taking over the show. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast, by the way. However, Drew, I'm taking you out today. I'm going to hit you where it hurts to start out here, which is why I'm going with the Marlins money line against the Cardinals this evening. Usually the Marlins would be the dogs in this matchup, but that's not the case when Sandy Alcantara is on the mound. You might remember him as a Cardinal briefly, Drew, but now he's one of the best pitchers in the game. Alcantara didn't have his best stuff in his most recent start, but he still went 7 innings, even though he gave up 4 earned runs in that start. His ERA sits at 1.95 for the year. Looking for him to bounce back tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid that game, pretend like it's not happening, and take Reds at Cubs over 7.5. Two pretty lackluster offenses here, but Red starter Hunter Green has allowed the most home runs of any pitcher this season, allowed 3 of them against the Dodgers last time out, and the ball flies when the conditions are right at Wrigley Field. Cubs starter Justin Steele is certainly hittable too. Bank on a slugfest in Chicago.
So good play fading those 2 pitching styles. No Sandy Alcantaras in Cincinnati or Chicago.
Given that a lot of baseball plays on today's show and even more tennis plays. We had Kenny, and now it's time for our best bets. So we get to yours. I begin with you. Best bets for Wimbledon, I assume, is what we're going for today. What do you got?
I'm going to throw you a curveball. It's not baseball, though.
Where are we
I'm
going?
Cycling.
Of course we're going Tour de France Futures on a Wednesday.
There are 2 things that really make the month of July for me. The first is obviously Wimbledon. You know, the second week of Wimbledon, so good, and is as you mentioned, it's the best of all of the slams. However, the Tour de France, NBC's Tour de France, it's one of the best parts of the month of July because you get to wake up every morning and throw on NBC and just like watch these guys touring the countryside of France and kind of pick different spots that you want to go and visit, and it's just a very, very fun experience watching the tour because of the beauty of the coverage itself. And as a betting man, there are ways to bet on the Tour de France, and so I've added a little skin to the game here by getting involved with a couple of fun bets, starting with Stage 1 on Friday. So July 1st, Friday, they open the Tour de France in Copenhagen, Denmark. Copenhagen, first time that the Tour de France has ever gone to Denmark. They've kind of gotten into this kind of a spirit of expanding the reach of the Tour de France. They don't do every stage in France anymore. They like to do an opening stage in Germany, Belgium they've done, Netherlands they've done. Now they're going to Denmark, and they're starting in Copenhagen with a time trial. Time trials are an unusual kind of first stage because it literally is an individual time trial where you don't get help from your team. You are the one man and one bike alone trying to beat the clock, and they spread out the starts, every 30 seconds another guy goes. And this is a relatively short race where the favorite is Filippo Ganna of Italy. Filippo Ganna was the best sprinter on the bike, on the track at the Olympics by my numbers, by margin. He is the top individual time trialer in the world. He has now won 2 consecutive world championships. Now, 2 years ago, he won the world championships when it was held in Italy, and there were lots of belly aching, like, oh, they made the course too good for him, and they made it too short, and it didn't give everyone a fair chance. Well, Belgium got to host the course the next year, and Belgium has a cyclist named Wout van Aert, who is the number 2 time trialer in the world, and they tried to cook the books to help Wout win the world championship. But you know what? Ganna did not let it happen. He took him down. The margin was 5 seconds on a course that favored Van Aert. So realistically, this is a budding superstar in Ghana who I believe the tour is kind of setting up to get a stage 1 win. He'll be wearing the yellow jersey for the first handful of stages because after the time trial on Friday, they have another stage in Denmark that ends in a sprint. So basically everybody gets the peloton time, finishing time, and the yellow jersey doesn't change hands. Day 3, another one that ends in a sprint. So realistically, for the first portion of the Tour de France, we got the up-and-coming superstar Filippo Ganna will be the presumptive yellow jersey wearer, guy on the podium, getting all the attention after he takes down stage 1. It is a shorter stage than the World Championship time trial, which I believe plays into his advantage as well. I think he can win this one going away, and I think this is his kind of breakout superstardom opportunity in Europe among the cycling community. So Ganna at plus 110, I think ought to be closer to minus 150, and realistically could be even higher after we see his form.
Well, I love it. You taught me a lot about Tour de France last year and how to bet it, but I really just tail you because you actually handicap it. It's a phenomenal event. I got to talk to Paul Burmeister, actually, who calls a lot of it.
Ooh.
And a few weeks ago, when he was talking about waking up in the middle of the night with them, traveling to different cities, actually trying to broadcast the event. So I learned a lot about it. It's fantastic. I love your bets. I'll tail you on it. I'll give mine fairly quickly before we run through the rest of yours. And I am going, you're never going to believe this, to the John Deere Classic. Why? Because I want to get involved in this. And I got Adam Hadwin at a top 10 finish at plus 200. And now we're looking at plus 100. So over the last couple of hours, he's gotten a lot of action here. But this is really just because there's good value because the quality of the field for this specific player. Obviously, it's probably, you can make the argument, the weakest we've seen all PGA Tour season. So I'm going with Adam Hadwin, top 10, plus 200, only because he has 4 top 10 finishes since March. And you look at those, 2 of those 4 had really strong competition, the US Open and the Players. Good fit for the course. He finished inside the top 20 in 2 other starts here, even though it was quite a few years ago. He's been solid, and I mentioned he's played well here. So I think if you look at his last fantastic top 10 finish at the US Open and this mixture of the field and a course that he knows, I will take him top 10 plus 200, Adam Hadwin.
Fantastic look. I can't believe that you got that price, frankly.
Earlier today.
Should be a lot shorter. We're looking at top 20 here for plus 100, but realistically, yes, top 10 and plus 200 still incredible bet considering the strength of this field. So that's a great look.
Yeah, and obviously shop around regardless. And we are showing, top 20, but I know obviously PointsBet had the best line for this I know available. What other plays fairly quickly for Wimbledon or Tour de France stick out to you?
So we had a stage 1 bet on Ghana to win. But for the balance of the tour, the points classification is the man who wears the green jersey. And you get points at the Tour de France by winning sprints, by winning stages. And there is one team that has the best, the team is comprised of cyclists who are outstanding at getting their sprinter in position to win the sprint. It is a very tactical requirement that you have specific lead out guys and you have your train kind of riding to the finish line at top speed. And then you need a specific lead out guy who will anchor you, pull you, and launch you to the finish. And the best team for this is the Quick Step team. And there was some uncertainty heading into the Tour de France whether they would go with Jakobsen as their sprinter or Mark Cavendish. Mark Cavendish won the green jersey last year. He was the points classification champion. He won 4 stages, setting the all-time record, tying the all-time record for tour stage wins in the process. They elected to leave Cavendish at home. They said, we don't need you, buddy. Like all-time winningest cyclist, don't need you. We have Jakobsen. He is better. He is the future of our team. And they have all the rest of the pieces in place to be the best sprinting team on tour. And Jakobsen at 6-1, I think, is a very, very favorable price. Really, it's only this big of a number because he has never done and completed the Tour de France before. But last year, he completed the Tour of Spain, which is of similar difficulty and distance and length and time. And I think he can complete this tour as well. He is going to be the cyclist to watch in all of the sprint stages. He's going to win multiple stages, in my opinion. And I think 6-1 to win the green jersey is a very favorable price. So let's go Jakobsen.
Okay, 2 big Tour de France plays, and obviously get involved before Friday and before these lines move. 2 Wimbledon plays fairly quickly here. We do have Jay Croucher standing by.
Sure.
What do you got on your tennis card?
I'm fading Alex de Minaur, not a quality player by my numbers. I think Draper showed an incredible quality yesterday in his round 1 win. I think he takes down de Minaur tomorrow as a dog, plus 150. We got a lot of dogs on the card between me and Kenny tomorrow on the men's side. It could be a chaotic day. And then I like Kenny thinks Alcaraz is on upset alert in round 3 to Ott. No, not by my measures. I think Alcaraz is learning on the fly and playing incredibly well on grass. I have already seen developments in his game from the clay season in just these first 2 Grand Slam grass tournaments. He's also showing a keener understanding of how to navigate a best of 5 tournament, which is going to be important. I think he can take down his first Grand Slam here. The field is super, super weak. He literally needs to beat Djokovic head-to-head in the quarterfinal, and then this is his tournament, in my opinion. I know that Kenny thinks Tsitsipas could make a run to the final here on the bottom. Maybe. I think whoever comes out of the final, at the bottom half of this draw is a sitting duck against Alcaraz in the final, and I, really just cannot.
Alcaraz. Yes,
love watching him. He has shown so much growth, and this is, I think, kind of the ideal tournament for him to break through.
10-1 now to win the men's singles at Wimbledon. So still a good price, and we'll see how this breaks. But I will 100% bet into that market when we jump off there. I will. Okay, just a reminder, if you don't have the NBC Sports Predictor app powered by PointsBet, go download it now. The contests are free and easy to play, and you have a shot to win thousands by predicting what will happen in Major League Baseball, and the PGA Tour, and NASCAR circuit. Jay Croucher from PointsBet joining us next. Stay with us.
Welcome to NBC Sports EDGE, your one stop for everything fantasy, DFS, and more. Get up-to-date news and insights from our award-winning analysts. Looking to raise your game even more? NBC Sports EDGE Plus helps you level up with an array of premium tools and resources keeping you ahead of the pack. Learn more at NBCSportsEdge.com.
Thanks for being with us here on Bet the Edge Game Time. Drew and I and Kenny, we've given a ton of picks so far on the show, but nothing beats hearing from the book. And for that, we welcome in head of trading at PointsBet, Jay Croucher. Jay, we feel like we did really just finish the NBA Finals. But as we know, there's so much now to keep an eye on in the NBA. A lot of rumors, a lot of players on the move. One of the latest stories is possibly that John Wall will land with the Clippers out from the Rockets. What do you think about the plus 700 price now for the Los Angeles Clippers to win the NBA championship next year? Because you look at the Warriors and Celtics, who are 5-1 and 6-1 respectively.
Yeah, NBA season's just getting started now, Sarah. It's Jalen Brunson season. This is when it all really kicks off. Look, I don't mind plus 700 on the Clippers. I think that if Kawhi Leonard is right, and that's a big if, but at the same time, he's going to be the most managed player in NBA history. I think there's a chance he'll never play a back-to-back ever again in his career. And so if they can get him through to the playoffs and they're all healthy, then this team runs 11 deep. John Wall might be the 11th best player on the team. And look, some of these guys, they might get old quickly, Nick Batum, Marcus Morris, these types, but they'll probably only play 8 or 9 guys in the playoffs. So they've got some margin for error there. And look, this is like an aggressively modern NBA team where I think they're going to do a lot of playing small, a lot of Robert Covington at the 5, Batum at the 5, Marcus Morris at the 5. They're the deepest, the most versatile team in the league. So I think that they've got everything there, but injuries could play a part. I think Golden State will be very formidable in the West, but I would have Golden State and the Clippers as the clear top 2 in the West, and then a drop off to a second tier.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably regret saying this, that the Warriors are still overrated by the market, but I do think the West goes through the Clippers if Kawhi stays healthy. And I'd like to see Kawhi versus the Warriors without a Jaja Pachulia incident. That seems like we are owed that, right? Anyway, and Ty Lue, by the way, great job coaching last year, and huge upgrade over the Doc Rivers calamity that befell the Clippers in the bubble. So a lot of positives about this Clippers team overall. Curious, as you are a guy that I have immeasurable respect for when it comes to handicapping the awards market, are there any of these awards markets out there right now as we sit here at the end of June that look especially mispriced to you?
Well, you might have to lose some of that respect because I've been fading Paul Goldschmidt. All season. Keep waiting for someone to get this guy out because all of his underlying numbers suggest that he is just way overperforming what he should be based on the StatCast numbers, his expected batting average, expected slugging, but he just keeps hitting home runs every day. It's ridiculous. And so he's the clear favorite now, but I think that he is still a vulnerable favorite. There's still a lot of the season to be played. And I think that, a player like Manny Machado, I would make Machado favorite to catch Goldschmidt in the all-in-one stats like WAR. So I think that Machado, particularly with Tatis coming back, that Padres team could catch fire. Wouldn't write off Trey Turner either, who homered last night and has quietly been building. His stats are there. He could end up very easily with 25 homers, 35 steals, and compete for the batting title. So, look, I think that this is a very interesting race. Bryce Harper, our guy, he obviously is now pretty much out of the race. Looks like he's going to miss 6 weeks, and that's insurmountable. So that opens it up for others to get in. But I think that when you're looking at players in this market, it's really the first 5 names that you're seeing. Freddie Freeman, I don't know what this latest stuff does to his MVP case, probably nothing good. But certainly I think those 5 guys, and I would be fading Pete Alonso. I think he's just not going to have, he doesn't offer much value defensively, and I don't think he's going to have the stats that stack up to the other 4. But yeah, it is not wide open because Goldschmidt is having a ridiculous season, but certainly some room, particularly for Machado and Turner, I think, to get into the race.
And what's so crazy is there's so much season left that often the best bets you could make, and I know you know this, Jay, are really after the All-Star break and see who's kind of making a push for the second half of the season, especially in that MVP market. And it's kind of the same for the Rookie of the Year market. And we've seen a lot of players, a lot of fantastic players get caught up as of lately. 2 front runners right now, Michael Harris, Oneil Cruz, who throws like 1 million miles per hour. Yeah, and he's not a pitcher, by the way. Just looking at kind of the market right now, and specifically this Rookie of the Year market, what kind of stands out to you, and what's the best way, in your opinion, for bettors to get into this?
Yeah, what stands out is that the market is a mess. None of these guys have shown, none of them have produced much yet. And so that creates betting opportunities where they're really starting from a clean slate. We're halfway through the season. No one has really created any separation. And so that definitely creates opportunities. It looked like it was going to be Seiya Suzuki's award. He's been on the shelf for a month. He's playing for a bad team. He's also already been a professional and is basically a vet, which definitely counts against him if it's close. Cruz's number has plummeted, even though he hasn't done anything yet, just because of all the hype around him. He is definitely the most viral rookie, where, you know, you see the throws that he unleashes and how hard he hits the ball. The home run that he hit the other night was basically just like a line drive single that turned into a home run because he just hits the ball so ridiculously hard. But if I was looking at someone on this list to bet, I would look at Brendan Donovan. And I don't think many people know who Brendan Donovan is because he's basically a utility guy on the Cardinals, but he's batting over 300. He's got over an 800 OPS. He's been batting second on a team that is favored to make the playoffs. His playing time is guaranteed because he can play just about every position, and he's leading all the position players in WAR at the moment. And if you look back over the past 40 Rookie of the Year winners, all of them except for one have finished top 2 in WAR. So if you can pick the WAR winner, you can pretty much almost pick the Rookie of the Year winner. And I think Brendan Donovan is just about favorite to be the WAR leader. And if that's the case, then there is some value on him, I think. So wide open race. Don't feel good tipping out a guy who's probably going to hit 5 home runs for the season. But at the same time, he has a lot of value and his slash line is going to look pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I love that look. 12-1 for a guy who is likely to lead. I mean, we've seen the progression of MLB voting. They're taking the advanced statistics more seriously. I mean, they're now talking about using the advanced statistics to, you know, to grade compensation fairly, which is amazing that we're at this stage. But, you know, I think that is an ideal angle. Hopefully you heard a little bit of my breakdown of the Tour de France, and I'm sure you, as a cycling enthusiast, I know you have a bike. I know you know how to, you know, you change gears and pump up tires and all that. You guys expecting any kind of interest in a cycling market for the Tour de France, as we are kind of in a little bit of a sports calendar doldrum here in July?
Yeah, been getting right into cycling, Drew. Riding my bike along the Cherry Creek Trail every day. If I got a flat tire, I think I just throw the bike into the creek. And get
you know, for a second, Jay, I was really thinking, I'm like, do they text? And Jay's really a cyclist, or is Drew just pulling this out of thin air? And I'm happy to find out that he was pulling it out of wherever, because I felt left out of your cycling.
I am not a cyclist. And look, the Tour de France is something that I'm really excited for this year because, look, it's something that I haven't studied that closely in the past, but there's been a lot of interest in it this year. It looks like it's going to be a really compelling tour. And, you know, I think that in terms of interesting markets, definitely the stage 1 winner with Olympic hero Philip Ogana. That market has moved a lot just today. There was plus 140 around for Ghana to win stage 1. That's now plus 110. And to Drew's point, that's might have still some room to go where he could be odds on pretty quickly. So that's definitely something to look out for. You know, we've got a very clear, overwhelming favorite at the top. And so, look, if there are some angles to fade him, there will be some bigger prices. But look, I think it's a really good betting opportunity, and just in terms of amplifying the viewing experience, where if you are looking to get into the tour and you're not that familiar with it, then a bet on Philip Ogana might be a good way to learn the sport and the tour.
Yep, I love it. The technically, like the tour, at least kind of traditionally, the tour is won or lost on the mountain stages, because everybody can hang, your team, the peloton in general, everybody kind of stays together on the flat stages that end in a sprint. But when you get to the mountain stages, it really starts to separate the quality of the riders. And so, we're going to get in week 2, they go right to the Alps. They have some incredible finishes. Alpe d'Huez is going to be a finish, which is one of the most famous finishes on the tour, at the top of this incredible mountain in the middle of the Alps. And then they obviously have another set of mountain stages in the Pyrenees in week 3. So, the guys at the top of the list, there's a couple of Slovenians. Our favorite right now is Tadej Pogačar. If you are seeing that name and wondering how to pronounce it, it's Tadej, like Tadej, and Pogačar, even though there's no H in there. But yeah, Tadej is going for his 3rd straight Tour de France, which would put him kind of in the class of the elites among, former champions. But he does not have an especially strong team. He basically has to do it all himself, which is even more of an accomplishment that he's won 2 titles. But this time, the Team Jumbo Visma has 2 realistic contenders in both Roglic as well as the Dutch fella. Realistically, it's going to be tough for Tadej this time, and I get why he's the favorite, but I wouldn't bet into that number. I would, and no real rush either, right? Like, let some of the early stages go by, let some of the some of the guys kind of deal with crashes and injuries, etc. And then see if we can pick off a good price as we get into the meat of the tour.
Took us 39 minutes maybe to get into Pogačar. I remember talking a lot about him last year. So you're an encyclopedia, and that's why I love working with you. I just took so much information from you as we get ready for Tour de France, and Jay is now rushing to fix the lines over at PointsBet and odds as we get ready. No, Jay, thank you very much for your time. Drew, thank you for all the lessons that we just learned for Tour de France and all of our bets as we get ready for that in Wimbledon. For everyone watching, thank you very much. Be sure to continue following us across NBC Sports Edge platforms throughout the week, and please subscribe here to our NBC Sports Edge YouTube channel. Our analysis and tools powered by PointsBet promise to give you the best edge possible. Best of luck with all your bets. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.